Hey folks, welcome back. Pop Retro. You can find me at Pop Retro 1 on Instagram and on Twitter, and Facebook.com/Pop Retro 1 and Patreon.com/Pop Retro. That's where you can find me on social medias if you are on those platforms. So, wanted to take a few minutes today just to share some kind of funny personal stories related to issues when it comes to collecting physical media. And you can probably relate even if you don't, because you have sent off for things through mail order before, whether it's DVDs or Blu-rays or Christmas gifts for somebody or just regular household items, and you received the wrong item or a broken item. So, for instance, Amazon every year has these, I guess they're flash sales. They're these huge sales where you can find stuff that are for like a ton of money off, okay? And so one of the shows that I don't have on DVD yet is the complete series of T.J. Hooker, starring William Shatner, which I've always wanted to get this set. Shout Factory released it several years back now. And it was like an upgrade from a studio released DVD set years ago that was only season 1 and 2. So this was the complete series, and it's like 50 or 55 bucks is what it almost always is. And so one of these flash sales came, or maybe it was on like a Black Friday sale or something like that. At any rate, so I order it because it's only like 30 bucks. And this was, I don't know, last year or maybe 2 years ago. So just probably a couple years ago. Now, this T.J. Hooker set is one of these tons of discs in a plasticky, kind of a thick plasticky case. Just kind of like, I think it's kind of like this, okay? This Family Guy set here. You can see it's all plastic. And in fact, this particular Family Guy set is one that I got that came busted up. You can see the plastic's busted right there. Well, so I order this T.J. Hooker set for 30 bucks, 35 bucks, whatever it was. It was a lot of percentage off from the regular price. And it shows up in one of these just very thin kind of bubble envelope things. Not a box. Should have been in a box, but of course it doesn't arrive. And you can tell it's just mangled up just from picking it up, because you can hear plastic clinking around. You can feel it kind of in the bottom of the envelope. And I opened it up and took a look, and it was just all busted up. And so I was like, okay, well, I need to send this back. I went through their thing, their online complaint thing, or do you want to send it back? Yes. Why? Because it's damaged. And then it has that little field where you can put your notes for it. And in the notes, I said, this is a plastic item that should be boxed with some of those like airbag paddings inside it, or some what do you call it, the packing peanuts or whatever. And so I sent it back, and they sent me a replacement. Well, the replacement shows up completely mangled up, just like the last one, in the same type of super thin plastic. And so I go through the same process again, and I put the same thing. This is the second time it's arrived in an envelope that's too thin for what you're sending out. This is a plasticky item that just shatters and breaks when you send it. And so I send it back. And I'm really trying to get the set. All I want is to just get the set on the shelf so I can start watching it. And so finally they send it the third time, and you're not going to believe this, but it showed up in a plasticky mess inside a thin envelope. In other words, they still didn't box it. They sent it in the same barely padded envelope, and it showed up completely just trashed up again. I was like, what am I going to do here? And that's a lot of this stuff. I don't complain about a lot of these Amazon things or mail order things. Like if I get a single DVD, for instance, you know, just a regular DVD case. Well, sometimes they show up busted and stuff. Well, I've got a whole box full of new ones that I bought years ago, just blank DVD cases, so that I can switch those out if needed. It gets a little hairy the further up in discount you go. So I've got a handful of double disc ones, but once you get up into like 3 discs, 4 discs, and so, then eventually you get to a place where you have to like kind of seek out that replacement case, and that's when it starts to get difficult. So short story long, I wind up sending back that TJ Hooker set again, and for whatever reason, they wrote back. They just said, "You will be refunded." I was like, "Oh, I don't want a refund. I want the..." And so fine, there was no other option. So I got a refund instead of a replacement this time around. So I go on the site, and guess what? It's back up to its regular price at like $55. So I tried 3 times within like the window of trying to get a non-broken item. And by the time I finally was able to order one again, it had gone back up to the regular price. So I still don't have the TJ Hooker set. I could just shell out and buy it, but I mean, I'm not in that big of a hurry, and it's an expensive set. $55 is pretty expensive, and I don't look at it every day. I'm sure it's gone down in price off and on over the years, but that's just one example of something that's happened. I wouldn't say regularly, but enough times that makes me think, geez, why do you not pack these in something like this in a box? And sometimes I'll order like something stupid, like a pillowcase or pillowcases or sheets. Or once I even ordered packing materials that were like actual packing peanuts. They send stuff like that, or like a t-shirt in a box, you know, like the t-shirt's going to shatter if they don't send that in an envelope. But they send, these in a thin, barely padded envelope. So anyway, that's story number 1. Now, just last week, I had read a story about the Olympian Bill Johnson, who was, he won the gold in skiing back in 1984. And I didn't really know a lot about his story, but I read an article last week, and I thought, oh, wow, I didn't know this guy was from my state. He's from Oregon. And so in looking it up, there was a TV movie based on his story called Going for the Gold, the Bill Johnson Story. It came out in 1985. And so that would have been like the year after he did this in the Olympics. And he's passed on now. And it's the true story of the first U.S. men's skiing gold medal winner. Bill Johnson is a cocky young adult who dreams of being on the U.S. Olympic ski team as a downhill racer. Trouble with the law and a rebellious attitude almost cost him the '84 gold medal that he won. So it sounds like a good story. And also it stars Anthony Edwards, just the year before he did Top Gun. So I thought, wow, this sounds great. Well, it's never come out on DVD. It's never come out on Blu-ray. I even looked through, I scoured YouTube, and I could find like some, some like reviews or some clips, but I couldn't find the full movie on YouTube. I couldn't find it on Amazon Prime, and I don't really have any other streaming services. So it may be out there, and maybe it's buried somewhere on YouTube. I couldn't find it. So I went on to Amazon, and I saw that there was a VHS of it. And so I found a used VHS on Amazon, and I ordered that VHS tape, and I was very excited, and they shipped it really fast, and it was, you can't blame Amazon for any used items. Those are from, third-party sellers. So this was like from some sort of, I think like a Goodwill or Salvation Army in some other state, And so it arrived just the other day, and Going for the Gold, and there's the ticket from right there, the VHS for Going for the Gold, and there's the item that arrived with it right there. So apparently Bad Boys 2 on DVD was mistaken in the warehouse for Going for the Gold, the Bill Johnson Story on VHS. So very nice 2-disc former rental set of Bad Boys 2. So I put in a request to can I exchange this? No, it doesn't give you that option. And then so I just said, okay, I'll refund this. And apparently I need to send it back. But so I'm still on the lookout for a copy of Going for the Gold so I can actually watch that. Have any of you seen Going for the Gold? I'm really curious to check it out. So now this is my favorite story concerning Amazon and Amazon returns and mistake orders, okay? I like my old animation. And by animation, I mean like the 80s cartoons that I grew up with. He-Man, G.I. Joe, Transformers, Thundercats, all that type of stuff. On physical media, I have all of that on physical media and then some. And every once in a while, I come across something that I've not seen, and I go, wow, this looks interesting and looks up my alley. I think it'd be fun to check out. So there's this cartoon called Sky Surfer Strike Force. Okay, it came out it ran from 1995 to 96. Now this was from Ruby Spears. Ruby Spears, which was the production company that did, Thundarr the Barbarian, the Mr. T cartoon, tons of Saturday morning cartoons in the 80s. And Turbo Teen, they did Turbo Teen, which I wish would get a physical media release someday. But anyhow, this was in 95, 96. I was in college at that point, probably 19 years old. I was gone from watching animation at that point, so I never saw this, but it was the cartoon was about a super team of Earth Guardians against a vile Cybron and his Bioborgs, who used the powers of flight and the sky for their crusades against evil. The Sky Surfers used technologically advanced watches that transformed them from their casual clothing to their battle attire and weapons, similar to the Battle of the Planets. During the transformations, their cars transform into rocket-powered aerial surfboards. So that sounded really cool, and the animation looked like the old school animation that I enjoyed from childhood. So anyhow, I checked online to see if there's physical media release, and there's no like complete series releases, but there were these there's like 4 like single disc releases with a handful of episodes. So I thought, well, that'll be a good way to just check it out, okay, and get some in the collection. So I send off, or I find it on Amazon, and I order this disc, and I'm excited. I'm gonna get some Sky Surfers, and so it arrives in the mailbox, and I got the discs. The disc shows up, and there's a card. There's like a greeting card in there, and I thought, well, that's interesting. And you see that? And there's cash in it. I go, what in the world is this? And so, I'll hold it up for you. There's a writing in it. I apologize. Hello, Jason. That's me. I was unable to locate the DVD you ordered, Sky Surfer. Please accept this movie and a full refund. Thank you, from Debbie with Amazon. And of course she like adds up. It was $6.99, but she like adds it up wrongly here. $3 plus $3.99, which equals $6.99. She put $7.99, but the cash that she sent was actually $7. So I got my refund. Plus a greeting card, and I thought it's very sweet. It just seemed so odd to me. It's like, holy cow, if that happens every time you don't have something on hand, do you send out a card and cash in return? It seemed like it'd be easier to just shoot off an email like everybody else does and refund through the system. And so because this actually costs her, she's got to mail this, she's got to she lost a penny sending cash, and so, but still, the thought is what counts, right? And so please accept this movie. And so what I got sent was a brand new, still wrapped, DVD of Murderball, which is a 2005 sports documentary about athletes who are physically disabled. I've never seen Murderball. It's from MTV Films, but I do remember reading about it because back in, around probably 2005, I was still trying to be like a independent shot on video, SOV style filmmaker. And so I bought, some, I guess I'd call it semi-pro at the time, industrial semi-pro film equipment, video equipment. And I never did do a movie, never made a low budget flick, despite writing a couple scripts. But I did wind up using it for freelancing for like local TV shoots, and like shooting weddings and things like that, meetings for corporations. They have their annual meetings. So I did a bunch of crap like that, which was good. I got paid for it. But Murderball was actually shot mainly using a camera called the Panasonic AG DVX100, the old DVX100. And that is what I had and still have. I actually had 3 of these, and I still have 2 of them. I had a super used one that I bought used to get me going way back in like 2004, I think. Then I bought a like half used one that was in pretty good shape, which is actually this particular one. And then I bought like around 2007, I bought a brand spanking new one. So I had 3, and coincidentally, the brand spanking new one stopped working like after a year and being babied, and I never used it that much. And so for whatever reason, I don't even know where it went. And so I still have these 2, and I thought I'd just dig it out because Murderball was shot using this camera. And I thought, oh, that's really cool. There's professional, at the time, there's a professional productions being shot with this camera. And I can afford a used one to get going. And so anyway, it shot on digital. You can see the door there for the tape. It was digital mini DV tapes is what it took and what it shot on. And the cool thing, I guess, at the time for these cameras was that they were the first ones, I think, that shot in 24 frames per second. So they emulated the look of film. And that was a really big deal in the SOV shot on film filmmaker cycle at the time, people who were doing that stuff at the time. So that's why these cameras were popular. So anyhow, I've tied in a lot to this rather obscure discussion of Amazon and returns and not getting, what you actually ordered. And so hopefully one of these days I will be able to get my VHS of Going for the Gold, the Bill Johnson story, and I will get a nice Sky Surfer DVD set, and perhaps a complete series of T.J. Hooker in one of these big brick DVD collections that's not all busted up for a price that I can afford. So anyhow, what are your experiences? Any like standout, funny, or just bizarre experiences when it comes to trying to order something online and getting the wrong thing, or getting like something interesting as a, sorry, we don't have that, but here's a card and some cash in it. Do you have any stories like that? Share them in the comments. I'd like to hear about them. So thanks for checking this out. I'll be back soon with some more reviews and haul videos, and I will see you then.